Hey, friends all over the world. I'm here in Tampa Bay. Let me come out in the balcony for this one. The secret has been exposed. The secret has been exposed. This information is so serious and so vital, but now it's out there. They tried to hide it. They tried to keep it from you. I'm telling you, I have the inside scoop on this, and they've been caught red-handed. It's been exposed. The secret is out there. You know, I wanted to come on here and tell you this because, you know, I think I've been on a couple days ago on Facebook Live, but I said, I got to come on here and tell them this because a lot of people didn't know it was going to come out like this. There's no more speculation. There's no more guessing. It's out there. It's been exposed. They wanted to keep it a secret, but they've been caught. And here it is, and I hope you get this. I hope you get it. Please listen to this. Get it. Many of you watching me right now have been under the impression that things aren't going to change. You've been under the impression that things aren't going to change, that things are going to stay the way that they've been. And the powers of darkness have tried to keep you in the dark on the fact that you have already shifted. You've already shifted. You've already shifted. You see, what an abuser does, what a manipulator does, what a captor does, is they don't want you to realize not only your right to be free, but the fact that you really don't have to stay under their captivity anymore. Listen, you've already shifted. You've already shifted. You have already shifted. You see, the bondage that a person experiences is connected to a lie they believe. Once you come out of the lie, you come out of the bondage. The moment you break the power of the lie, you break the shackles. You're free. You're shifted. See, the devil didn't want you to know this. He didn't want you to know this was a top secret file that was locked and sealed on you. And the enemy of your soul did not want you to know. He didn't want you to be informed of the fact that not only has God heard you, God has already answered you. And God has already shifted you out of the season of stagnation that you've been in. What you've been dealing with are the remnants of that stagnation. That doesn't mean that you're still in the same place. Just because, listen to this, just because the weather seems the same doesn't mean that the season hasn't changed. I'm prophesying to somebody. Just because the weather seems the same does not mean the season hasn't changed. You know, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and one of the things we would get some real interesting seasons. Sometimes it would be hot in August, or hot in September, or hot on a day in November, but it doesn't mean it wasn't wintertime. Sometimes it would be unusually cool one morning, but it didn't mean it wasn't summertime. And there's a group of you watching me right now. There's a remnant watching me right now. You felt like, God, I don't know what's going on. You said, you promised me, Lord God, you said that I was going to experience it suddenly. You said, God, that you're going to turn my business around. You said, God, you're going to turn my ministry, my marriage, my life, my mind around. And you still felt the same. And the devil has tried to make you believe that things have not changed, that that child you've been praying for is still wayward. They're not wayward anymore. See, even though the prodigal child was in the pig pen, he still had an awakening. He had an awakening not when he got back to his father's house, but while he was still out there. And some of you have been praying for people, and you said, God, it doesn't seem like nothing's happening. It's already happened. That's the secret. You say, what's the secret you're talking about? It's already done. What you're praying for, what you've been believing God for, has already been answered. Daniel didn't know that when he prayed, it was already done. See, the delay is not a denial. And the devil doesn't want you to know that. The delay is not a denial. The demons that have been assigned to your life, the familiar spirits that have been attached to your life and destiny, have one job: to keep you in the dark. Don't let them find out. Don't let them find out that they're already free. Don't let them discover that they're more powerful than they realize. Don't let them get a whiff of the transformation that's already taken place. Some of you are even thinking, man, I don't feel like I've changed the way. And the devil doesn't want you to see the changes. My goodness, come on now. He doesn't want you to see the changes. He doesn't want you to know who you really are. He's tried to seal your files. He's tried to seal your files. He's tried to keep you in a certain place and keep you out of the manifestation of what God has spoken concerning you. But the secret's out there. Now, it's all out there. There's no going back. You can't unsee this. You can't unhear this. You can't unhear what thus says the Spirit of the Lord. The demons have been caught red-handed, blood all on their hands, lying to you. They've been caught. You see, that's why some of your relationships have been shifting. That's why sometimes it's almost like there's people around you who are getting nervous. They're getting nervous. They're getting nervous because they're seeing that you're beginning to see your real potential and that you really have not needed that relationship. This is going to get me in some trouble if I say this. There's some people under the influence of demonic powers who have rejoiced in your ignorance, because if you realize who you are and what God has given you and what God has promised you, you will no longer accept that codependent relationship. You will no longer accept mediocrity. You will no longer accept what the enemy has tried to sell you as a bill of goods and pander to you. You won't accept it. You won't accept that. If you knew who you really were, if you knew, let me come in here because some of y'all still ain't hear what I'm saying. Let me get in here real quick. If you knew who you really were and what God has really said about you and what you're about to experience in your life, you would stop being so sad right now. You would stop sitting on the edge of your bed at 12 p.m. at night, wondering what's going to happen tomorrow and wondering who's going to do this and who's going to do that. You would begin to rejoice because the secret has been exposed. And that secret is that what God has promised you has already been delivered to you. The answer has already come. You're not waiting for God to do something. He's already done it. He's already done it. Whatever you've been waiting for God to do, it's already done. That thing that you've been anticipating, it's already done. That breakthrough that you've been saying, God, I need this, it's already done. Now that the secret is out and the demons have been caught red-handed, you need to walk in it. You need to walk in it. You need to walk in your destiny. You need to walk in the answer. Some of us have been so caught up in the question that we have not paid attention to the answer. Don't ask a question and then be blind when the answer comes. You know, Jesus comes to the earth, and 2,000 years ago, he comes to the earth, and he tells the Sanhedrin, he tells the Pharisees, listen, I and my Father are one, and they wanted to kill him. They wanted to crucify him. Why? Because they were so caught up in the question, they couldn't recognize the answer. They were so caught up. Sometimes we get caught up in that. You know, we're in a season for so long, we don't even recognize when the season has changed. Maybe we're in a state so long, we don't even recognize when there's been a shift. You've already shifted. You've already shifted. And let me leave you with this last example. When I first started traveling, I remember my pastor, my spiritual dad, he would prophesy over me that I would travel the world and I would go to different places. And at the time, I didn't even have a passport. And I could not even fathom the idea that I would be able to do those things and to go, that my feet would be planted on the shores of Europe, and my feet would be planted in Australia, and my feet would be planted in Israel. I had no clue that those things were going to happen. They didn't seem like they were going to happen. And I remember when I began to travel, for example, to Europe, and I traveled to the UK, and I would travel to Belgium. And I live in Tampa, so what happens is that it's really warm here most of the year. We don't really have a four-season climate here. And so oftentimes you can pretty much dress the same all year long. And sometimes I would go, because I would have a lot of luggage, and I learned a little technique that when you're traveling, sometimes you need to not just pack your luggage, but you need to wear your luggage. And somebody's going to catch this revelation. And so I would be in the airport, that's cool, and I would have on maybe a heavy jacket and a top hat, and people would laugh. They would say, boy, it's hot outside. Why are you wearing that jacket? Why are you wearing that jacket if it's hot outside? And so they didn't understand that I wasn't dressed based on the weather. I was dressed based on the destination. Can somebody catch what I'm saying? I was not dressing based on the weather. I was dressing based on the destination. I was dressed based on where I was going. Listen, some of you need to hear this. Stop allowing the environment around you to dictate what you wear and to dictate how you are. What you need to do is you need to dress not according to the weather, but dress according to your destiny, because you're going somewhere. Oh, maybe you didn't get the memo. Maybe you didn't get the message, but I am not where I was. I am not where I used to be. My life is not in the same place that it was, not even 6 months ago. My season has changed. My life has changed. And therefore, I'm going to accommodate the change whether you can see it or not. I need somebody to share this video and recognize that the secret is out. The devil's been caught red-handed with his lies, and your life has already changed. Please share this.